Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Traitors Bros, an all new podcast from two reality TV podcasting veterans. I am your Traitors obsessed host, Fox Van Allen, and joining me this week, as is the case every week, it's a man I would like to end the game with. It's Mr. Lance Cartelli. Hello, Lance.
Hey, Fox, I feel like we're almost to the end of this silly game anyway, so I'll go with you.
We made it through our first season of the Traitors, watching it together. And boy, was this an episode. There is a lot to talk about here. We left last week off on a cliffhanger, and she did it to her again. Britney did it to her again.
Did it to me again.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was my one prediction I got right from last week. Don't listen to all of them, but that prediction I got right that that she was going to turn on her because of Dolores and everything, and that's exactly what happened. And it makes sense that they held it because you said a lot happened in this episode. I don't think a lot happened at all, so they had to save it so we had a little dramatics.
Okay, I hear that. It is a little bit of a stronger episode when you start with that, and I think the challenge was largely filler. I don't know that we even needed it at all.
Yeah, but that's most challenges. I think that's one place they can really just upgrade for next season is really make the challenges a little more compelling and matter a little more.
Well, there was certainly a lot of drama after this Danielle vote off, this Britney turning traitor on the traitors, as the traitors have done to each other all season long. Almost fitting that yet another traitor on traitor betrayal happened.
Of course, the year of it.
But and I know you're a Big Brother fan, Lance. So surely you enjoyed the return of Dan's funeral.
Britney. Wow. But
Danielle gave Britney a Dan's funeral. It was great.
Who wouldn't enjoy, a little redux of that? But yeah, it was really interesting how it came down to that and what Britney did after. But I still think it was the right move. Good process, bad results. Spoiler for the end and everything. But I think if she had to do it again, she still would have done it. But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna walk through it, step by step in Britney's game, but I feel like this right here is probably probably the decision that for sure loses Britney the game, just based on the way that Danielle reacted. I mean, Danielle burned that bridge on the way out. She made it as clear as possible that Britney was another traitor, without saying it, verbatim. I think if you got to do it again, you got to hope for the best, which would be, for Danielle to win that tiebreaker against Ivar, for her to stick around. And then you get to the final five with yourself. You got Britney still with you, and you got Dolores, who was still she was shocked that Danielle was a traitor. Like she would have been with those three to the end. And at that point, it's 3-on-2. They have the votes. They can, even if they don't end the game because Dylan still wants to go, it's still 3-2. And you get rid of the people who don't want to,
Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense, except Dolores is kind of a wild card, as we saw in her final vote and everything. So, if she does come to that same realization that she needs to start picking with her head, she might have turned on them. But I do agree that the 3-on-2 would have been pretty hard to beat as long as you hold on to Dolores. There's no guarantee. But
yeah, it turns out that she could have been absolutely pivotal in a way that is unfortunate because she has not been. She was not, as it was pointed out in the episode, that she is not especially good at picking out traitors. She voted to keep the last two. But that's Dolores for you. What do you think about her game from 1 to 10, Lance? What are you going to rate Dolores' game? She did win.
Well, I was going to say, you have to give her some. It's like on the SATs where you get your name right, you get some points. So winning, I think I would give her a 7 until you realize she voted wrong on 80% of the votes. So I'd give her, it has to be over a 5.5.
Okay. You think it's got to be over 5 because she's won?
Yeah, I think you get 5 for being a champion.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll give her the 5 then. 5.5. Maybe I'll be generous too and give her a little bit in addition to that. But like, she's wrong all the time. Like, and I mean, I guess she gets it right at the end. They all get it right at the end, but
That's
I
the half
mean,
point.
it's a pretty late time to like
I
having to
think if
refigure out your game plan, refigure out your strategy, and who you can trust in the final episode is not like a great place to be. And
I
her
think
trust
if
was
she turned
completely shaken.
if she turned on Dylan at the end, I would have given her a 5. But she gets to keep the half point for not screwing Dylan over on $51,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So Danielle just does a ton of damage to Britney on the way out of the game. It's not a lot of ways that Britney can recover from it, but she does, I think, probably the best job she can do in this episode. Like once we get past this Danielle vote out, to actually build a decent case for herself to stay. It's really paddling upstream. But what do you think?
Yeah. I think one, it's just hard to recover from what Danielle did, and then also her reaction to Danielle going out. It definitely felt a little more dramatic,
Mhm.
knowing that she's a traitor. And so yeah, she did a good. I mean, she really like when it was her versus Dylan. Really thought she won that battle, and even Dylan admits that. So I thought she did a really good job of defending herself, but she just had too much going against her. And I also like Derek also put the target on her early, and so I think knowing that Derek was a part of this, and that's just mounting, even though it was wrong at the time, it's just mounting evidence. I think that was her just nailing the coffin there. So I don't know if she was ever going to be able to recover, but she did a valiant job. She really beat Dylan. I really thought it was going to be closer than in that final vote.
Yeah, yeah, and you wonder if that's maybe some selective editing there that made it look like it might be closer than it was. But still,
Yeah,
you have to hand it to Brittany because Brittany does play, aside from voting out Danielle, a great game past then. Like I think she absolutely plays the seer power correctly. What do you think,
right.
Lance? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like especially because they kind of set it up for us, where if she does turn on Gabby, everyone will know and just have to take them both out. So the seer power really had only had one option of doing that, and it did buy her some trust with Gabby, not enough to get her to vote for her. But yeah, I think she played that about as well as you could. I
Yeah.
really would have been interested to see if Danielle got it, because then she probably frames Gabby in that point and everything. I think Danielle is just more of a
Yeah.
chaos agent if she does stay, which would have made the finale more fun.
Yeah, and that's what Gabby suspects. She suspects that if Danielle was still around, that she would have lied about the power. I think the seer power here probably does more to help out Gabby than anything else, because by calling her a faithful, it really takes the question out of it for the most part. Unless you believe there are two, and Dylan throws it
Yeah.
out, there could still be two left.
When Dylan had the realization, I was so worried about Gabby, because I think Gabby was the MVP of the season for me. She was just
Yeah.
such a fun character, and I was a fan of her at The Bachelor. She's always been funny, but it just really translated well. And you just wanted her to stay. Like with the faithful win, you really wanted Dylan and Gabby to win. The other two, not so much. But I actually thought Britney, if she really wanted to stay, the Hail Mary wasn't Dylan; it was taking out Dolores.
Mm.
Dolores or Ivar. Because you can get Dolores on your side to try to vote out Ivar, or there was enough people to kind of be like Ivar would get her back, and you probably had enough votes to go that way. The Dylan Hail Mary just didn't have enough. It was too late, and there was just no evidence really to back it up. She did a valiant job.
Well, she
and
did
really
put together some evidence. She did come with a packet full of.
Yeah, it was just too late. Like
Yeah.
the seeds weren't planted, the hints weren't dropped early enough for it to mature.
Yeah, a lot of projection in Britney's case. She was bringing up a lot of things that were true about herself as well as
That's
Dylan,
what you got to
like,
do.
mentioning that, like, hey, he was really close to Danielle. Isn't that suspicious?
Yeah. I also thought I really liked Dylan, but I thought his kind of like high and mighty act of like, oh, how could you suspect me? It was a little much, like for this game and everything.
Sure.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Overall, very likable. I do like.
Of course,
I do
yeah.
like Dylan, and you
I'm
mentioned it.
shocked. I'm shocked that you like him.
Go figure. And you mentioned it earlier. I want to point out that I really do love Gabby. You
Yeah,
said it, like she's a
like
fantastic
MVP.
character. And like this episode, I think does a really great job of showcasing her. Like the seer dinner with Britney, that was a lot of fun. They're having a good time. And
Yeah, do you
yeah,
think they actually got dinner? Because you never see them get served anything at all. Not
no,
even like an appetizer or anything. So I'm wondering if they
the
actually got dinner.
the Applebee's check didn't come in, so they
Yeah.
they couldn't do it.
Well, it's another revenue stream opening if they
Yeah,
if they want
yeah.
to.
Have next time have it sponsored by Burger King. Have some
Yeah,
Whoppers there. You know?
yeah. I think that makes sense. That's a good seamless marketing ploy right there. That would work.
I mean, they do have really good food in this castle, so it would be very
So
surprising.
then it's not Burger King. We know that.
Yeah, McDonald's. Um, so Brittany, unfortunately, does not make a very convincing case. Brittany is banished at the final round table. Of course, this is a round table where her traitor status is not necessarily revealed. And, she doesn't really give you anything on the way out as far as like pointing fingers at someone. Not that there's anyone else to point to. At this point, the faithful have won the game. But the only question is, can those four faithful get to the end together without, backstabbing for money or out of fear that one of them is still a traitor? And I gotta say, like, impressive that there was so much trust between those four people that they ended the game, because at some point each and every one of them had votes against them at the table and had people pointing the finger at them and making a case against them. Like no one there was like absolutely hands clean, and yet all four agreed, let's end the game.
It's a nice cute story, but I want some blood. Like I really want some action and everything. So I wanted Dylan to win, but I'm glad these people weren't, greedy. But I want greedy people on any of these things. Traitors Challenge, Survivor. I want that. So it just, it's a nice little story, but we watched for blood and for dramatics and everything, and we didn't get that. So it was a little disappointing. I would have liked to see one of them try to cut out another person. 50 grand to these people, they're probably not a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it is being split between four people, so it is like you said, 50 grand and a little bit of change. But I gotta say, like, to me, it was a very feel good kind of ending. Like it just
I don't want to feel good.
It felt like the appropriate way to wrap up a season where the traitors were constantly fighting each other, and at like no point were they working together. Like Britney and Danielle didn't even last an episode. That backstab was quick. So like this is the ending that the traitors deserve.
Yeah, I was frustrated with Britney. Going back a little bit with Britney, is like, why didn't she bring up reindeer games or any of that? Like, it's such an easy response to like when she said that she screwed her over again. It's like because she did, like, that's what you just go back to and everything. So maybe it was edited out, but I really thought that was such an easy response to kind of help her out. But yeah, going back to the ending and everything, it was pretty interesting that four people all trusted each other that much. You usually don't get that many people, but it really was a bunch of selfless people. It's because they were all non-gamers. I think if they were gamers, we would have seen more people be a little more ruthless and try to get as much money as possible.
Yeah, I agree. This is a really it's a ragtag bunch of faithfuls. Like this is like Dylan is very impressive, I think, but like this is not necessarily like the cream of the faithful crop here. Like Gabby's got some good points, but like Dolores's game was like terrible, and Lord Ivar was there. He was furniture, like there wasn't an awful lot coming out of him. So like
he did kind of redeem himself towards the end. He had good reads towards the end, but he didn't really offer that much as a character. But I thought Gabby was great, obviously, and then Dylan, probably from the seasons I've watched, he's the best faithful game I've seen. We have Sari as the best traitor ever, and I think Dylan's now the best faithful I've seen.
Yeah, Yeah, he a very impressive gameplay. I gotta hand it to him. And I think you can just tell, like, this is a man who like really is loving this whole game. Like he is super into it. He watches reality TV. He was so happy to play with like Boston Rob, a little bit too happy because he got hypnotized by Rob's charm. But like he was having a ball. And one thing I wanted to ask you, I was looking at Reddit earlier today, and apparently there's a bit of a movement. A lot of people want to see Dylan on Survivor. What do you think, Lance? Should we see Dylan come for a season of Survivor?
I think that'd be great. I do kind of miss the days when Survivor would throw in like a random like celebrity or
Yeah,
celebrity adjacent kind of person. But I also like on the reunion they bring up Deal or No Deal. I think Dylan on Dondi would be great
that
too.
I
But
think I
I do
agree.
think I want to see him on more reality shows. Like
Yeah,
he has such a head for it. So whatever it is, if it's Survivor, if it's Dondi, if it's both, I'm happy to see him play again. I think that'd be great. I
yeah,
want to see Gabby on more stuff too,
yeah.
and Tom Sandoval.
They both have him and Gabby both have fantastic game minds, and they're both good looking. And put those together, that's great reality TV. What more could you want,
Yeah,
right?
throw Tom Sandoval in there too, and I will watch whatever they do.
Yeah, I I would gladly watch. So I that about wraps up this whole season here, Lance. What do you think about the season as a whole? Let's not just looking at this episode. Let's look back through the entire journey from who what was it? Wells? I what was his name? First
Well,
guy who
yeah.
got voted out. Yeah.
Another Bachelor Nation person. So we lose a Bachelor Nation, and we have a Bachelor Nation winner. So
Yeah. All
what a
the
good bookend.
way. Yeah, all the way to the final. So, what do you think about this season overall?
I think it's an A season. I was
Yeah.
going to give it an A plus if it was a little more fun towards the end, but I think it's the best cast. I think it was the sloppiest of I'm just talking about the American version.
Yeah.
But probably the worst, the most boring ending. So
Mm.
one was the most fun, then two, and then probably three. But like as an overall season, I definitely think this is the best one of what that I've watched. So really strong season, really fun. I'm excited to see what they do in the future. But yeah, A for me, 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think I agree. Like it feels like a 9 out of 10 kind of season. I was entertained, like extremely entertained in almost every episode. I think there are probably a few challenges in there that weren't so great, and a couple episodes where there's not a lot of good drama, just boring people going after the wrong person,
Yeah,
which not necessarily the best episodes compared to the ones where Boston Rob is going out of the game
right.
and he's
There was
or
a
the
there
one where
was a
he's facing
lull.
off against Bob the drag queen.
Yeah, there was a lull right after he got eliminated, but then the Carolyn Danielle drama really carried us through the end.
Hmm.
But I do think the finale is probably the least entertaining episode.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I,
that's how strong the rest of the season was.
yeah, I think I think it might be boring just in the sense that we get to the fire pit and the game's already been decided at that point. It's like an early ending kind of for the season, right? Like of course they can still vote people out, but for the most part, like we know that the quote good guys won, right? But I got to disagree. Like I don't hate the rest of this episode. I mean, again, take out the challenge, but that Britney and Danielle resolution, and then the Britney roundtable, like her against Dylan, like
Yeah, I'm not
I,
saying it was bad. I just
it was
think,
very satisfying, very
yeah,
satisfying.
I just think it was the least entertaining of all of them, just
Mm,
because of how strong the season was. But
yeah,
by no means was it bad.
yeah. Well, hopefully we will have more like this, and Traitors is coming back for a season 4, so I think that means we need to come back for a season 2, right, Lance?
I agree, 100%.
Whenever the heck this happens, do we know when it is, Lance? Do you know?
No, I'm assuming it'd be about 9 months from now.
Sounds about right. Boy, so
They
many.
they they need to get on the 2 seasons a year Survivor challenge kind of track though. I want another season.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is some of the best reality TV that we've got going on right now,
And
and
they got to up the prize money. They can
Yeah,
that's not a lot of money. That's not enough money to.
it.
I think people are going to start realizing that.
I agree, Lance. I agree, and I feel like that's one of the bigger flaws in the game. Like I do like when the competitions or the challenges that they have gives the traitors a chance to expose themselves, and like have something like that going on.
Yeah.
But overall, like watching them compete to win, what was it, $40,000 in this episode, was really boring compared to like everything else that's going on, or like the higher stakes thing. Like it just felt like such a tiny increment when we're talking, shows that usually give out a lot more money than that.
Yeah, every challenge should connect to the game in some kind of element where it either starts some drama or starts having you kind of like the chess game where that reveals something about the game. Every challenge should have some kind of connection to that.
Yeah. What do you think about here's an idea I had a little bit earlier, but what do you think about tying the amount of money that they win possibly to the number of traitors they get out during the game? Like, obviously, if they're catching more traitors are getting put back in the game. So,
yeah, I think putting like a monetary bonus on getting out a traitor, I think sure, why not? Anything to up the value. Like they really need to get it was just so low. I get it's only like a 2-week competition and everything, but this is the #1 reality show that people are watching.
Yeah.
So any way to like kind of whether it's just make the end prize that much bigger, or I do like the incentivizing getting out giving money for getting out a traitor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Deal or No Deal Island, that's not that cannot be a longer taping schedule than the Traitors.
It's probably similar, yeah. If they got Parvati and Will, then it's probably a pretty short window.
Yeah. So, and that one, I mean, that show inexplicably gives away multiple millions of dollars compared to the Traitors, which is like the best of the best competing for the tiny, measly prize of $200,000.
Yeah, I mean, I take it, but yeah, up that ante.
Agreed. So anything else you want to see for the next season of the Traitors, Lance, season 4?
It's a good question. I mean, they're doing so well. I do think like the challenges is like the big hole in the game, and that I do want to see players kind of try to replicate the Sandra tactic instead of just trying to get out as many traitors as possible, unless they do incentivize it. But who am I to give advice? They're doing a great job with it, and I just want to see the cast list of the next season. So
yeah. What I think would be interesting is to maybe get a few traitors that are selected at the beginning of the game that are just chosen by random instead of like who the cast wants to pick, right? So that way there's not like we don't start out with that narrative like, oh, we should vote out Boston Rob because like of the way he was put in this game and like he's exactly the kind of person that they picked to be a traitor. Just like have some element of chance in there where it really could be anybody. Like take out like the ability to rule out Carolyn, right? Like there's no way. Well, if it's at random, maybe like she's just hard to read. So
yeah, I think we get more chaos with that because people would be pretty unprepared. But I think the more seasons we get, and they are picking gamers, and I just think gamers are going to be targeted, especially CBS gamers.
Yeah.
So I think that would actually help them kind of take the target off of a lot of the gamers. So I'd love to see like a season with that. Like they can try stuff, like try it one season. If it doesn't work, don't do it the next season.
Yeah, so maybe the next season of the Traitors, maybe they cast as their traitors some of the your bachelor or bachelorette contestant, right? Your Real Housewife. Go for one of the Bravo shows that no one's ever heard about. Like just throw something other than like it's got to be the best of the best who are chosen as traitors. And give people the opportunity to like shine. Like Dylan would have been a great traitor, I think. If he gave he would have had some trouble at certain points, but like I think he would have been a great traitor. It's just that's not the card he was dealt here. So,
right, yeah. Let's try it.
All right. Well, when it does happen, Lance, we will be right here on the Traitors Bros to talk about it all. So I think that about wraps us up for the entire, pardon me, the Traitors season 3. Had a really great time talking about it with you, Lance, and had a really great time putting it out there on the internet for all you randos to listen to. We love you randos, especially the randos who are liking our videos and the randos who are subscribing to our videos. So please continue to do that if you like what you hear. We would appreciate it. So please show us some love, and we'll be back here next season with more The Traitors coverage. But in the meantime, you got to check out the Survivor Bros. That's our other podcast. And we are going to continue to expand. We're going to head back into the Dondi Bros, wrap up that season happening over on NBC, and maybe get into the challenge too. So there is a lot of reality TV to come, Lance.
I can't wait. The randos are going to love it.
Yep. So hit that subscribe button, randos. All right. I think we should get out of here before we do any more damage. So until next week, until 9 months from now, until our next video anyway, which is like a day away. Bye.